The day I became the most hated man in Lakeside Estates was also the day my wife refused to open the barn door. Karen Wellington, the self-appointed neighborhood tyrant, stood at our gate, her clipboard clenched like a weapon, pounding it against our fence with the fury of a tax collector. She was demanding an immediate inspection of our livestock barn. My wife Sarah stood calm and composed. "I'm sorry, Mrs. Wellington. You'll need proper legal notice." That's when smile twisted. With theatrical flair, she pulled out her phone and dialed 911, convinced she was about to put us in our place. What she didn't know was this. The woman she'd just reported happened to be the newly appointed district police chief. 10 minutes later, when the patrol car arrived, Sarah stepped out in full uniform. Karen's face turned whiter than fresh paint. But that wasn't the end. No, it was just the beginning. My name is Marcus Ashford. 6 months ago, I inherited 15 acres of farmland surrounded by cookie-cutter mansions, the crown jewel of the property. A weathered 1952 barn, built by my grandfather. To the Lakeside Estates, HOA, it was an eyesore. To me, it was legacy. That Sarah and I moved in hoping for peace. She'd just left the state police after 20 years to take a quieter job, chief of police for our district. We thought our biggest challenges would be garden regulations and chicken complaints. We were wrong. Karen introduced herself on day 2. Pearls, heels, and a binder thick enough to stun a bear. "This barn situation," she announced, "will need to be addressed immediately." From that moment on, the barn became her obsession. She began driving by twice daily, snapping photos with a telephoto lens, measuring distances, and scribbling in her ever-present clipboard. 3 weeks in, she escalated. She arrived unannounced, demanding access under new HOA regulations. Sarah, holding her coffee, was polite, but firm. "Without legal documentation and proper notice, the answer is no." Karen's response: "Call the cops. I'm reporting non-cooperation with official oversight." Karen told 911. "This is HOA President Karen Wellington. I need immediate police assistance." When Sarah met the responding officer at the gate, wearing her official badge and uniform, Karen stuttered like a dying engine. "Good morning, Mrs. Wellington," Sarah said, flipping open her notepad. "You called to report a non-cooperative resident. I'm here to investigate." Karen was speechless, but as she backed toward her BMW, she muttered something chilling. "I have other ways of handling difficult cases." That was no longer HOA talk. That was code. Within days, Karen launched a social media smear campaign. Photos of our property, veiled accusations of corruption, even local news coverage with headlines like, "Greater than police chief's family blocks, safety inspection, abuse of power alleged." Sarah was devastated. Her department opened a formal inquiry. She was told to recuse herself from HOA matters pending review. "I built my reputation for 20 years, she said, "and this woman could destroy it before I even settle in." But while Karen waged war online, I started asking questions offline. My neighbor Jimmy Rodriguez, a retired Army sergeant, finally pulled me aside. "Karen's been making late-night calls," he whispered, "talking about offshore payments, nighttime deliveries, and your barn." He'd even taken photos. Strange trucks, out-of-state cars, unfamiliar men holding blueprints. Then came Mrs. Eleanor Blackwood, the neighborhood's living archive. "I saw similar things during the war," she said, trembling over tea. "Men surveying your property, talking in foreign languages, and trucks, always before dawn." Our land wasn't just a nostalgic barn, it was strategically valuable. One evening, Jimmy dropped a bombshell. "Karen used to be my business partner," he said. "She bankrupted me. Took everything." He opened a folder filled with evidence: fraudulent permits, media manipulation, legal trickery. She'd done it before, 3 other properties, always in transportation corridors. That's when I went to the county office and found a permit application using my name and a forged signature for a commercial warehouse project on our land, dated 2 weeks after my inheritance. The funding traced back to Karen's P.O. box. The name: Lakeside International Commerce Partners. Projected revenue: $50 million. A lawyer from Boston contacted us with shocking news: a sealed codicil to my grandfather's will. Inside was a hand-drawn map and a message: "Greater than Marcus. If you're reading this, it means someone is trying to take our land for the wrong reasons. Check the 3rd shelf behind the farming almanac." That night, we found a hidden metal box in the barn. Inside, land surveys from the 1850s, Our barn sat on a station of the Underground Railroad. The tunnels, still intact, and now being used for smuggling. Sarah contacted her old colleague, Detective Morrison. Within 72 hours, we had confirmation. Karen Wellington wasn't just a nuisance. She was running an international smuggling ring, the HOA front. The board, mostly fake. Our barn, a central hub for illegal cargo moving from Canada to Mexico beneath federal radar. The feds moved fast. Surveillance, wiretaps, financial tracing. By the time Karen showed up with 2 men in suits and a bribe, it was too late. She threatened us. We recorded everything. Karen was arrested. So were 43 others across 12 states. Over $200 million in illegal goods were seized. Our barn's tunnels, once used to carry enslaved people to freedom, had been defiled for profit. Not anymore. With our help, the property was declared a National Historic Site. The tunnels were preserved. The barn became a museum. The government seized Karen's assets. We founded the Marcus Ashford Heritage Foundation to protect freedom history from exploitation. 6 months later, Sarah and I stood in the barn where it all began. We'd wanted peace. Instead, we uncovered crime, exposed corruption, and defended history. And in doing so, we proved what my grandfather always believed. Greater than protecting this land isn't about being strong, it's about being smart. Karen underestimated us, and that was her final mistake.